Hello, Jane.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was born in Steinbach, Manitoba, which is about 40 miles out of Winnipeg. My dad, as a fairly young person, ended up moving to right on the Swiss-German border with his parents. And so my dad grew up there as a young person, then ended up coming back to Canada and met my mom, who is now passed on. And then at the age of 2, moved to the German, Swiss, French, just border area there. It's called in German Dreiländereck. The Janz team singers, so there was the Janz team quartet, which was my grandparents, and then there was the Janz team singers, which is a little more avant-garde. I guess you move the quartet word out. They transitioned to a band called Deliverance. They rented or leased a warehouse there, and that is where they would do their practicing. Oh, I remember the first time the drummer, Dave McSperrin, he had this AC/DC album. Man, I put that LP on the record player, and Back in Black, I think, was the first song on there. Then I would also, like at the studio, I'd play this album, and I'd just get on Dave McSperrin's drum kit, and I would just start playing. My dad was also helping to do some sound jobs. One of the jobs that he did, the whole thing just kind of went bankrupt. But the person who was involved in putting it together had said to Dad, I have a music store, perhaps, for now, I'll pay you this, but would you like something from the music store? And then, my dad knew that I was really onto drums, and so he actually ended up buying me a drum set. I would have been maybe 10 years old, and that drum set actually is the drum set that is in that room right over there. Unbelievable to think that I still have it. This is the same shell. This is literally made in Japan. I was really grateful that my parents put me into piano lessons. What I loved was the afterwards part where I could just kind of play on my own and just kind of, play some chords or do this or do that. Of course, we're singing all the time too, because we're a singing family, like everybody sings. And my mother sang as well. She had actually 2 albums. It was called the Penner Sisters. I've always had really good ears as well. When I was really, really young and my dad was using a tape player somewhere in the room, so I said, Dad, I hear a sound. It's kind of like a something really quiet. What is that? And my dad's like, no, it's nothing. And what I was picking up on was I could literally hear the silent whirling sound of the tape player running somewhere in the room. He was kind of not upset, but he's like, what do you? That's unusual. What tiny little kid is noticing a certain frequency? When I was then in high school, we had moved by this time back to Canada for a time. I started just writing some more songs like I did when I was younger. I just had this thing like, you know what? I think I want to be like a rock star. That time, I think my Uncle Paul had somewhat of a music career here. That was kind of like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Why not? They did it as Deliverance, and Paul was doing it. I ended up then moving back to Germany. My dad started working for a sound company there, and I ended up started working there as a self-employed person. And I'm learning the whole technical part of sound reinforcement. And at the same time, and this has really started to just blossom, we had this basement in this huge, massive warehouse that belonged to this company. The owner and his wife, they were like, man, this guy is talented. He's musical, and sure, maybe let's set up some sort of studio. That's where I think the idea of this could be like a career for me really started to develop, because I was learning how to engineer, and I started recording songs. There were other artists there that kind of just I found or that found me, and we started recording tunes. An agent who got wind of the music I was doing and was like, wow, this stuff is really good. And so we started pitching this material to record labels. That was a good, really solid, kind of very concentrated season. I don't know how long that would have been, maybe a good year. I just decided, what, I want to move back to Canada. I felt like I really wanted to do something with my brother Andrew. And we were able to found some friends that would join us and just having fun together as young people. Too true.
Too true. There they all are.
So there's me, there's my brother Andrew, Tim Olson, Dave Olson, Paul Papler. I was just somewhat convinced that, we'll be able to develop something together and make a go of this. We did concerts, we ended up doing a lot of clubs, but it was then and there where, just that kind of had an end.
Philip Janz has produced almost all of my music for the past 20 years. He's such a talented guy. I first met Philip Janz in 1995, shortly after the Father's House album came out. And his uncle, Paul Janz, was the producer of that project back in 94. I met Philip's dad in Germany in 93. So I started this connection with the Janz family, who are insanely gifted with music of all types. So this kind of musical talent runs deep in the family.
My dad kind of put Brian and I together for just to meet up type thing. And Brian, I guess, had been inquiring about just, someone who could maybe help as a musical director. I mean, when I had this band with my brother, that would have been my role oftentimes, just kind of helping to steer things in that sense, because I was able to put on a lot of different hats. Obviously, we worked together. But Brian and I just hit it off.
One of the reasons why I love having Philip as my producer, he plays so many instruments. Philip's an amazing drummer, plays the horns, plays keyboards, and is a phenomenal multi-octave vocalist. So when he's creating vocal arrangements for one of our songs, he hears all the different parts and he can mimic all the female parts, all the male parts, and create an incredible arrangement of that song.
It shifted very much from me as an artist, and then it was more like I came into this kind of thing where I felt like, well, maybe I can help to give voice and language with all these tools that I have to other people's expressions.
When I bring a song to Philip, I feel like he listens to it and he takes it deeply into his soul. And then when he reinterprets that, i.e. starts creating the arrangement, I feel like he's unlocking things that I heard in my imagination, but I couldn't articulate. Oh, I hear the backing vocals doing this. Oh, I hear a bass line like this. We need this type of electric guitar. Not just electric guitar, we need this type of sound. So he's so incredibly experienced with all the details and the nuances of creating a world-class arrangement of a song. There's no one I would recommend more as a music producer than Philip Janz. He truly has the heart, he has the skill, and he has the whole package. He will serve your song and your vision with heart and with skill.
I love to create arrangements that are very married to the words that are being used, and so it's like story. I love to arrange a story. Truthfully, the stories that are my relationships and friendships that have developed out of all of these projects, because for me it's like, it's the times together, it's the in between the recording sessions, it's our discussions, it's our tell me about life, tell me about your kids. So that's really rewarding too. It's like it's It's all these connections that have developed out of making great music.